What's up, everybody? It's Sunday, it's the late night agenda. We're almost through this weekend of international break football when we head towards Liverpool's game against Crystal Palace next weekend in the Premier League. I hate international football, I'm not going to lie. Yes, Ireland have a massive game tomorrow night, good qualifiers for the Euros, but my life revolves around the Reds and I'm just counting down the time till Liverpool are back in action. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend. I hope we have enjoyed time with your families or whatever it is you people do when there's no Liverpool football, because to tell you, it's tough. My life really does revolve around the Reds, and you realise that when these international breaks come around. Anyway, there's loads for us to get through. A bit of news tonight, some talk about injuries, some talk about transfers, a few other bits and pieces as well. But really, we're just killing time together, guys, aren't we, until the Reds are back in action next Saturday at 3 p.m. Hello to everybody that's in the chat: Richard, Scotty, John, Subi, Shanzo, Boya, John Hamilton, James Hardy, Malcolm, Alex, PJ Ladd, Daisha, and whoever else I've missed. Curse Footy 2019. How are we? I hope we're all enjoying the weekend. If you're a fan of the English national team, congratulations to you guys. Pretty handy qualification. Pretty good win today, 4-0 as well. Wales, well done. Some good football played by Wales as well. But look, I can pretend. I can dress it up. I can sit here and pretend I give a shit about international football. You guys know me too well by now. I don't. I really, really don't. Right, let me get into your comments before we move any more. How are you, Craig and Redman? Said Daisha. I'm good. I think I'm finally getting to the end of this cold. I'm starting to feel a little bit more human. I didn't think I'd be ready to stream tonight, which is why I had originally said no streams until Monday. But you know what? Fuck it. Might as well do it. Stephen Pedersen said Liverpool linked with Insigne from Napoli. We spoke about that the other night, mate. It's one of those that doesn't go away, has it? That Insigne link's been there with the Reds for a few windows now, and I'm always not a fan of us being linked to players from clubs who are playing in the Champions League, but yeah, that one just won't go away. And we spoke about the De Laurentiis stuff with the Napoli chairman, that he's had a bit of an issue with some of the senior players. A lot of them, I think almost most of them, didn't report for a winter training camp after the draw with Salzburg, and he seems to be willing to sell a few other major players, and Insigne's been the one that's been linked to Liverpool. What have we got? I can't wait till we're back in action. So James Hardy, mate, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. These 2 weeks feel like an absolute eternity when there's no Reds football. Dave Sweeney, how are you, sir? Welcome in. Insigne's about 35. He's not really. He's about 27. Honey bunny. Maybe 28, but he's there or thereabouts, I think. But you guys know, anybody who watches these streams know that I know nobody's age. I always get them absolutely wrong. Brian Morrissey said that Insigne link's been there forever. Hey Craig, I'm going to Liverpool versus Napoli game next Wednesday. Yep, brilliant, Scotty. You're going to have a great time, mate. It's a big game. If we win that game at home to Napoli, that will qualify us and pretty much see us top of the group. So yeah, it's an important game. It would be nice to be able to rest a lot of players for the trip to Salzburg in the last Champions League match day. So we know what a busy fixture load we have. So yeah, if we can get the win against Napoli on Wednesday week, that would do nicely. Be able to rest a few players. Kosovo went in hard against Oxlade-Chamberlain, said LJW. Yes, for those of you that are watching or were watching the England game earlier on, all of our hearts were in our mouths after, I think it was about 2 minutes, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain went down under a challenge. And it looked at first like it might be quite a serious injury, but thankfully he was able to get up, run it off, and continue on with the game for England. So I think our hearts were in our mouths there. I tweeted about it straight away as soon as it happened, and that was the last thing we wanted. Not just from a selfish point of view for us, but for him. I mean, God, we want him back playing football, and thankfully, as I said, he was able to carry on, and England went on to win the game quite handily, 4-0. I haven't watched your streams for a while. Hope you're well. Sancho will be amazing for us, said City Fisher. He will be pretty damn good. Look, I'm going to get into that. I'm not even going to mess about tonight. I'm going to get straight into the action. So, Jadon Sancho is Liverpool's main transfer target, and that's according to the Star. But other papers have claimed it will be Manchester United and PSG that will be going head-to-head with Liverpool for Sancho's signature. Now, we spoke on, I think it was Friday night stream, about a possible price for Jadon Sancho, and the figure of €140 million has been what has been mentioned in the media that it's going to cost to get Jadon Sancho out of Borussia Dortmund. They're talking about comparable money that they got for Dembele. I'll put it over to you guys again. I don't know if that's a fair price. I don't know if it's a bargain. It's hard to justify and hard to tell in this market. But the Mbappe stuff seems to be really being just poo-pooed by everybody. There seems to be absolutely fucking no truth to Kylian Mbappe, as much as we all love the jokes about the hashtag 2020. newspaper and website after website seem to be just saying no, that there's no genuine Liverpool interest there. But more and more stuff has been coming up suggesting that we are indeed interested in Jadon Sancho. Manchester United have known to be long-term admirers of his, and as I mentioned a couple of seconds ago as well, PSG have also been strongly linked. But if I'm Jadon Sancho, realistically, why would I go to PSG? I mean, not trying to belittle them, well, a little bit maybe, but even United, apart from the financial power and the history of that football club, right now with Jadon Sancho, if Liverpool are in from in any way, shape or form and he has any real ambition about wanting to succeed, surely he'd be looking to move to a club like Liverpool, if it is indeed true. I think there's truth to this. I've no idea how much it'll be, how much it'll cost, but I think there is truth to it. I think it makes sense. We've heard Jurgen Klopp speak about Jadon Sancho in the past. He said that when he was leaving Manchester City, that Liverpool or himself were interested, but it didn't quite work out because Manchester City wouldn't do business with Liverpool. And it seems that this just won't go away. And I think there is truth to it. And I want to know what you guys think. Would you like to see Jadon Sancho at the club? If we're being realistic and saying that, Kylian Mbappe just quite frankly won't happen. Callum's going off a little bit saying, do you think the KSI Logan Paul will be overturned the 2 point? No, I don't, mate. Jack Reese, I think it was, who was refereeing that fight, I think off the top of my head, very experienced referee. It's a little bit like sour grapes from Logan Paul for me, or maybe just trying to put it out there for a third fight. But look, I'm fucking sick to death of that KSI Logan Paul. KSI won it. A lot of people thought KSI won the first fight as well, so congratulations to JJ. Other than that, I've no interest, absolutely no interest in seeing a third fight between those two men. It's been settled as far as I'm concerned. Right, let's get the league wrapped up, said James Hardy. Right, give me your thoughts on Sancho though, ladies and gents, because I don't want to move on, because there are other links and other things I want to talk about, but I want your thoughts on Sancho. Kamsi Boy said, anybody else watching I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. I'm not going to lie, mate. I am recording it. I'm not going to lie. I'll put my hands up. I am recording it. I ordered myself a Christmas jumper as well. I mean, I spoke about this on Twitter as well. If you haven't checked out Redman TV, go over and check out their website, their shop at the minute, because they have a Divock Origi 90+4 1-0 against Everton Christmas jumper up there that says last Christmas. It even has a little T-Rex on it, and as I said to you guys the other day, it's class. I ordered it for myself for Christmas. I'm going to be wearing it over our Christmas streams because I celebrated like fuck when Divock scored that goal against Everton last season. I went on a little bit of a rant. It was the only ever rant that I've went on that was demonetized by YouTube because of the amount of bad language in it. I'm sure that the goal reaction is still up there, but when Connor sent me the picture to show that Redmen were selling the top, I just thought, well, there's my Christmas jumper sorted out. You know what I mean? So I went over straight away, went onto the Redman TV shop and ordered myself that sexy ass top. And I'm going to wear it right through December as well. So yeah, if you haven't checked it, they're like £25 I think as well. I think if you're on their mailing list, they might have sent out a few discount codes as well. But yeah, quality stuff, absolutely brilliant top, and I can't wait to wear it. I hope we've no new injuries, said James Hardy. I can talk a little bit about that, mate. And I will circle back around to the Sancho stuff, folks. Don't worry. What have we got? Where is it? I have some notes here somewhere. Oh, yes, right. So, with regards to injuries and stuff like that, Virgil van Dijk has withdrawn from the Dutch squad to play Estonia because of personal reasons. He joins Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, Mohamed Salah and Andy Robertson as the 5 Reds players who've now withdrawn from international duty for various reasons. None of them really serious injury worries. With regards to Mo Salah, obviously, yes, but I think with Andy Robertson, it was more precautionary. We probably will be without Mo Salah for a while, but basically what I'm trying to say is there has been some good news around this international break, and it doesn't look like Liverpool players have been injured on international duty that I'm aware of anyway, which is almost their first concern when these breaks come about. I say this before, the phrase that I keep using is we send them out and our toys come back broken. Thankfully, there's been no new breakages to our toys. And whatever the reason, Virgil van Dijk has withdrawn from the Estonia squad. They say it's personal reasons, that's entirely up to him. Joe Gomez, he's at a bang of his knee, I think, in English training. Jordan Henderson had a virus that just wouldn't clear up, and then Mohamed Salah and Andy Robertson both with knocks to their ankles. So, that's good news that we've no new injury. Sorry, I got distracted by there. Callum said Mark raised 10k plus for charity or for cancer. That is absolutely amazing. Congratulations to Mark Goldbridge on that. That is a tremendous achievement, and I'm sure all that money's gone to a really good cause in cancer research or to fight cancer or whatever it is. But well done to Mark. Nothing but love from that. Is a tremendous achievement to raise that much money. Who do you think will buy in January? Nobody, James, mate. Honestly, I can't see us doing business in January. I don't think we need to either, if I'm being really honest about it. Unless, of course, there is one of those deals like a Timo Werner where we go and sign him, send him back to Leipzig for the rest of the season. Other than that, mate, I really can't see too much, but I'm open to being surprised. I'd love to be surprised. I'd love to be wrong. Brian Morrissey said he won't go to United. He's only going to a Champions League team. That could be perceived as a cheap dig, Brian, but it's not factually correct, and it doesn't look like they're going to be a Champions League team next season. So, when you're right, buddy. What can I say? Curse Footy 29 says, if we're going to buy Sancho, does that mean we're going to pull Salah or Mane striker and then play Bobby central attack in mid? I honestly don't know, mate. I mean, it's a lovely headache to have and a lovely conversation to be sitting here having with you guys. But like I always say, when there's any talk of us signing another player, it doesn't automatically mean that somebody has to be dropped or somebody. It can be rotation. There's no reason whatsoever why we shouldn't have 6 top-class players for those 3 front positions. And maybe Bobby Firmino will drop in and play a little bit deeper in the 10, perhaps. You never know, but it does give options. And Jadon Sancho is still a young footballer who's still learning. Excuse me. I predict if he does come in, you probably won't see him establish himself in the first team for a few months, like we've seen with other players. Fabinho, Robbo, when he came in as well, Naby Keita. It takes a while to get up to Jurgen Klopp's level of fitness and Jurgen Klopp's level of intensity and the system that Jurgen Klopp likes to play. So if we were to sign Sancho in the summer, even if it was for a ridiculously high amount of money, I don't think that would mean that he would automatically come in and start straight away. That's just my opinion, and that's just my opinion on looking back over other players that have joined the club. Eugene said Adam Lallana to PSG to help fund Bournemouth move for Ryan Fraser. I do have that in my notes as well, mate. Adam Lallana has indeed been linked with a move to Paris Saint-Germain. But strangely, the move is apparently as a replacement for Edison Cavani, who looks like he'll be replacing Zlatan Ibrahimovic at LA Galaxy. So, I mean, the first comment I seen earlier on, I think, might have been Stephen Booker or somebody had put in Cavani and Lallana are completely different players, and you're absolutely right, but that genuinely is the link that's out there in the media, that Adam Lallana could be going to Paris Saint-Germain, or Paris Saint-Germain are interested in bringing Adam Lallana in as a replacement for Edison Cavani. I'm with you. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, whether you want to take Lallana to Paris Saint-Germain, fair enough, but as a replacement for Cavani, yeah, I was baffled as anybody else when Connor sent me that link earlier on and I started to read up on it. So, I mean, take from that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. It does seem a very strange one. Colin McIntyre, has your head cold gone? No, still here, mate, but I think I'm getting towards the end of it, I think. I hate international football, said James Hardy. What else have we got? I like Werner and Maddison instead of Jadon Sancho, said Shanzo the man. I don't know if I'm correct, but I read Lallana earns more than Trent and Robbo. I would say that is probably correct, yes. I mean, that makes sense to me. Lallana, a senior pro at the club. I think he probably earns north of 120 grand a week, but that would be, I think it's educated guesswork, put it that way, because I did have a list someone sent me about a year ago that had the players' salaries on it. Now, of course, new injury or new contracts have been signed by players. Yeah, I don't quite know, but that would make sense to me if he is on more than both of them, to be fair. He is at the tail end of his career, so he probably would be one of the higher earning players of the club as a senior pro. Adam Lallana's move won't fund anything, said Brian Morrissey. I don't know, mate. Could fund a weekend coke habit. I don't know. A new sitting room. I have no idea. Actually, I was trying to think about that earlier on, Brian. I have no idea what type of money Adam Lallana will be worth in this market. I would imagine somewhere between 25 and 35 million at a guess. Gurpreet Singh said apparently Sancho only wants a move to England. And that makes sense for many reasons, mate. I mean, fair play to him for going over to Borussia Dortmund, first and foremost, because it was a bold move on his part. He got first team football, and there has been some little incidents there. He had some problems being late for training, and I think he was late from international duty, and he has had a couple of disciplinary issues, but he's still a very young player, And he's a player that a lot of people think very, very highly of. And that a move back to England does make some sense, mate. And I can definitely see where you're coming from. What else you got? I still honestly think Keita's going to prove a lot this season. Look bright, but still has a lot to prove. Maybe next season he can start breaking into the first team. What are your thoughts? I think, look, Keita does have a lot to prove. I think that's a fair point, mate. And Brian as well, you're right, mate. Lallana is apparently going to be free next summer as well, so that will affect his value. But to get back to cursed footy, I'm a massive fan of Naby Keita, but I can't continue to defend somebody that has so many injury concerns and hasn't yet hit form. I still believe in him, and I still think he'll come good, and we do start to see flashes of what he's capable of, but we need to see that on a regular basis. And for whatever reason, whether it be the physicality of the Premier League, the demands of Jurgen Klopp's system, it just hasn't worked out for Naby so far, and he's picked up injury after injury. And I just hope that he can put together a run of games, because I think if he can put together that run of games and put some form together, we're going to start seeing what he's really capable of. And I think there is a world-class midfielder in there. Colin McAteer said, lucky to get 15 million for Lallana. Craig, what price do you think? I honestly wouldn't have a clue. I mean, his market value tied down on a contract, I'd say, is somewhere around 25-35 million, like I said earlier on. But I had forgotten, like Brian has suggested, that his contract is up pretty soon. So yeah, I've no idea. Is this a ploy? Is this out there by his agent perhaps to try and get Lallana a new deal at Liverpool? I don't know, but that is a strange link to Paris Saint-Germain. And you know what, weirdly, this isn't the first link I've seen with him with Paris Saint-Germain. The COP Council said, could we see Liverpool giving Nathaniel Klein the new contract extension at the end of the season? Or do we think he'll leave on a free? Probably leave on a free. It's been a weird old time, hasn't it, for Nathaniel Klein at Liverpool. Had a really good game against United last season, then went out on loan to Bournemouth. Came back, started to impress during pre-season, then picks up a long-term injury that's basically ruled him out for the season, probably. So I think he'll probably move on a free personally, but he is a good fullback, and if he can stay fit, somebody will get a decent level player there. I'd like to keep him at the club, but I just feel that there is something there. I can't say what it is because I genuinely don't know, but it just feels like one of those situations where he will move on. Get rid of international football to James Hardy, and that's just not going to happen, mate. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, as you know, but it ain't going to happen. Big shout out for Dominic Matteo from Brian Kelly as well. That's a really good point, mate. For those of you that don't know, Dominic Matteo has been unwell. He had an issue with his brain. I'm not sure if it was a blood clot or exactly what it was, but he did undergo surgery and he is on the road to recovery. So nothing but love towards Dominic Matteo, and of course we wish him a speedy and full recovery. Should Lallana sign on a 1-year deal, then sell him? I mean, why would he do that, Callum? From his perspective, mate, wouldn't really make sense for him to come in, sign a deal with Liverpool just so we can cash in on him. Make more sense from his point of view to get a bigger signing on fee or a bigger salary if he moved on. Ramadan, how are you, sir? Thank you for the super chat. Said, now that Napoli are in a bit of turmoil, we should invite Koulibaly for a pizza in the shape of a Champions League winners medal. Imagine him next to Virgil. I'm not going to lie, Rabadam, I have imagined that a few times over the years, mate. He's quality, but I just don't see us spending that type of money for a centre-back who is also in the prime of his career right now, like Virgil van Dijk. I just don't see it happening. I don't really think we need it either, particularly with the fact we've gone out and we've signed Sepp Vandenberg, we've given Joel Matip a new contract, Keanu Hoover coming through the youth system as well. You know, he can play right back, he can play centre-back as well. I just don't know, mate. I really don't know if that is the level of money that we're going to invest in a centre-back if we're to bring one in. But nobody can deny Koulibaly's quality. He is one of the best in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. Klein won't leave because of his ACL. That's what we were talking about at the end of the season, mate, because his contract is up, I believe. I hope Naby can get better soon, said Joe Tony. What do you think of the links of Sanderberg? Have I missed something there, mate? I'm sorry, I'm not sure. I haven't seen. I don't know what you're talking about, actually, being brutally honest. Not gonna lie, not keen to selling Lallana. That goal against United could have boosted his confidence. He can play in a lot of positions, said Curse Funny 2019. Yes, he can, and as we've seen, he can play in a different type of number 6 role as well for Liverpool. That kind of register role, moving the ball about. Not his best position. I can't lie on this. I can't be two-faced, and I can't go back on what I said in the summer. I think Adam Lallana should move on from Liverpool Football Club but for his own good. I've got nothing against Adam Lallana. On his day, he's a sensational footballer. He was really important to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool Football Club when Klopp first came in. Himself and Bobby Firmino were the masters of gegenpressing. But for whatever reason, whether it be age, whether it be injuries catching up with him, whether it be perhaps the style of player, the level of our play, I think we've moved on a little bit past Lallana, and I wouldn't begrudge him a move. But I also wouldn't mind him staying. But my honest opinion is last summer I did say I would have personally moved him on. Stephen Booker said Werner and Bailey plus change equals Jadon Sancho. Yep, maybe. Leon Bailey, I haven't seen too much of this season with Leverkusen, if I'm being honest. Timo Werner, somebody who, at that price range, at that 30 million price, seems just absolutely ludicrously cheap. So I can see, for many, many reasons, why people would want to go and get Timo Werner. But the Sancho thing, I think, maybe with Nike, maybe with the extra money coming in, maybe with the fact that we didn't spend much money last summer, I do believe that there could be something to this one. But I also believe a lot of clubs around Europe are going to be looking at that kid. Brian Morrissey said Maddison. But as I've said, if I'm advising James Maddison, I'm telling him to stay put for probably 18 months at Leicester, because there's no rush. Things are going well from there. Brendan Rodgers really rates him highly. Leicester have a good young team. They could potentially have European football next season. And if I'm him, I'm just staying put. I'm progressing. I'm getting game time. Probably getting a few more international appearances as well. And as much as I'd love James Maddison at Liverpool, because I really, really rate him, I just don't. I don't think Leicester will sell him. I don't think they have a need to sell him financially either. Lallana never fit. That's his problem, said Shanzo. Shaqiri wants to leave. Thoughts? God, it seems like you guys are so... Do you have my notes, Sam, in front of you, mate? Because some of you guys are really nailing it. The things that I have wrote down in my notes, probably the same things you guys are reading about. But yes, there has been some stuff in the media about Sheridan Shaqiri. Football Insider have reported that Shaqiri will look to leave Liverpool next summer because of a lack of game time. The report also says that Reds manager Jurgen Klopp will not allow him to leave in the January window, but may be willing to sanction a move for him next summer. What do you guys think about this one? I mean, Shaqiri is a bit of a cult hero at Liverpool Football Club. He does have a pretty loyal following, I have to say, from chats I've had with you guys. There is a lot of Shaqiri love out there, and I've always been somebody that said he's a decent impact player, but when you buy him for 13 million, it was always clear if it didn't work out, you could probably cash in, you could probably make a decent few quid on Shaqiri. If he's not happy with his game time, I don't know what to say about that. He's had a lot of injuries. Maybe Kloppo doesn't rate him. I genuinely don't know what's going on here, but it does look like his game time will be very limited, and it would not surprise me at all to see him move on next summer. But again, this is your show, ladies and gentlemen. Please do let me know what you think of these situations. Milo said, sell Lallana for 30 million, get a left back to challenge Robertson like Grimaldo. Excuse me, again, still have a bit of a tickly cough, so bear with me. Let me just have a quick drink. Stephen Soar said, good to see over 20,000 fans watching the ladies' Merseyside derby today at Anfield, which it is, mate. It's good to see that type of attendance for sure. Brian, mate, you're starting to spam now. Actually, it's weird. Our moderator is starting to become a spamming pain in the ass. So can we cut it out with your smart arse comments, Brian? Maybe, perhaps. What's the latest on Matip? How many weeks before he's back? Said Senior El Flamo. I don't know, mate. I'd be lying to you. We were told probably 4 to 6 weeks from the media. I don't think that came from the club. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, mate. I do know that Deggsy's been playing quite well lately. He's had a couple of Deggsy moments, shall we say, but he does seem to be Jurgen Klopp's go-to partner for Virgil van Dijk when Joe Matip isn't around. Crazy to see the Liverpool versus Everton women's Premier League game today. I didn't watch it, mate, no. I was watching other stuff, but I did know that the game was on. Shaqiri's injured. How's he meant to play? Said Gaming Guy. That's the whole thing, mate. It does seem to be just going from one muscle injury or knock into another, and Klopp said before, bigger muscles take longer to heal. Let's bloody sign Sancho. Evening, Craig, said Gary Richards. Do it, mate. I'm with you. Let's just go and do it. Go and get it done. Put those big old Liverpool balls down on the table and say, here we are, Jadon. Do you know what I mean? This is the club for you, pal. Come get some. Come collect these Premier League titles and Champions League medals. What are moderators and how do they work? They are people, mate, that look after the chat for us. So moderators are the people with the blue spanners beside their name. And what they do is they remove any offensive chat, they remove any spamming, they remove any links and stuff like that. And stuff that could get us in trouble, basically. So they keep our best interests at heart and keep the channel taking along and moving. And we wouldn't be able to function without John and without Brian and Connor and the other people that are moderators for us. So we do appreciate them. As much as they take the piss from time to time, they do amazing work for us. Shaqiri's a good backup player, I think, said Mark Hendley. Yeah, but he's a good backup player that can't be relied upon with fitness, which is a bugbear of mine, I've got to be honest. Not just for him, I mean in general. It just pisses me off when we have a deep squad, but some of those players are always battling niggling little injuries. Yeah. PJ Lal said watch along tomorrow. For the Ireland game, no. Wouldn't work on the channel, mate. It's I'll watch it here at home myself just because it's such a massive game for the country. Usually I'm not arsed with international football, but I will watch it because, you know, we could qualify for the Euros and that'll be a good thing. What have we got? Gomez will be back in defence before you know it, to Gary Richards. Iranian Pride, how are you, sir? Welcome in, great to see you in. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Whatever Shaqiri's future is, I'll always remember Shaqiri's cross for when he held him against Barcelona and his pre-season scissors kick, mate, against United. That was amazing. What else we got? Brian said the mods wind Craig up too. Yes, they do, but in a good way, mate. It's nothing but love. Glenn Whelan to score tomorrow, said Colin McAteer. Oh, just even thinking about having to rely on the likes of a Glenn Whelan, mate, makes me fucking cringe. Ireland versus Denmark score prediction to Colin McAteer. 1-1. 1-1 and us to maybe have to look at the playoffs, mate. But yeah, 1-1 I would say. Hey Craig, remember me? When do you think Maddox will be back? Green Blue Gaming 100. Do I remember that name? Honestly, not off the top of my head, mate. Did you change your name? But when do I think Maddox will be back? As I said earlier on, the honest answer is I don't know. 4 to 6 weeks was the number that was being put around, but Liverpool are very protective over injuries and they don't really put out timescales too often, so I don't know is the honest answer, mate. Hopefully it's soon because we need him. He's been in exquisite form and earned that new contract that he's got. I'm so happy that he did get that new deal because his performances have more than earned it. Iranian Pride said thank you, good to be here, mate. As I said to you a minute ago, it is always a pleasure to have you with us and I do appreciate your time. I've heard Maddox could be back for Palace, said Stephen Booker, mate. I hope that's true. Oh, that'd be great. Great news if it is true. What we do know is that Mohamed Salah is looking very unlikely for the Palace game. Andy Robertson is another doubt, both with ankle injuries. Hopefully in Robbo's case he'll make it, but I think we probably will see Salah out for a couple of weeks at a guess. PJ Lad says my head says 3-2 to Denmark but my heart says 2-1. I don't know, mate. We're just going to have to wait and see. Brian said Ryan Fraser, ? He says no, but what do you guys think? I've been very honest in my assessment of Ryan Fraser in that I haven't seen enough of Bournemouth to make a genuine decision on whether he's good enough to play for Liverpool Football Club. I know a lot of you guys have seen a lot more of him than I have, but then again, you guys are a little bit excitable if we're being honest. I mean I'm excitable as well, but I can go back to some of the chats that we've had in the 18 months or so we've been on, and like when Moses' daddy Simon was linked to the club, there was actually people who were fuming that Liverpool didn't go and sign him, and yet that's proved to probably be a right decision. He's disappeared back into insignificance, shall we say. Jadon Sancho cannot help Liverpool. We need Timo Werner or James Maddison. I don't know how to pronounce your name, mate, because I don't speak that language. So, of course he can help Liverpool, mate. I mean, we need another wide attacking forward. Timo Werner, yes, he could definitely help Liverpool, and James Maddison's a wonderful footballer, but Sancho definitely could help Liverpool. I am said I don't want Sancho at Liverpool and doubt Klopp will go for him. Think he's overrated and doesn't suit our dressing room. Klopp rates him. That much we can say without any doubt. Klopp definitely rates him, speaks very highly of him, and has spoken about his admiration of him before and spoken about the fact that he'd like to sign him before. So I think whatever else we say, Klopp does rate him. No Maddison over Fraser, said Chanzel the man. What even happened to Ryan Kent? He's gone. He's playing for Rangers, mate. Moved on over the summer. He's now officially a Rangers player. Decent for Bournemouth, but no to him at Liverpool, said John Hamilton. Thank you for the email about something I'll touch on later on, John. But thank you for the email, mate. I've been saving this for a bit of a laugh a few minutes into the stream, so thank you for that email, mate. I do appreciate it. VVD pulled out Netherlands squad due to personal reasons. Any news? Asks Stephen Soar. No, other than you've said, mate, and what we touched on earlier on, it is personal reasons. Hopefully the reasons are that the Holland qualified after that draw in Northern Ireland, and Ronald Koeman just knew there was no need for him. So I hope that's it. I genuinely hope there's nothing wrong, obviously, in his life, and that's the reason. I mean, I like to think that that's the reason, but you're never going to have that genuinely put out in the media, are you? Oh, we qualified, so we said to Van Dijk, we don't need you against Estonia, mate. You work away. When do I think Salah will be back? I don't think he'll make the Palace game. Don't think he'll make the Napoli game. Maybe the one after that. But until we get, I suppose, more of an update made from the club, I don't know. I'd be just guessing. Aidan Kelly said, Craig, do you think Robertson's injury is just a tactic from Liverpool to stop him playing for Scotland? No, I don't. I genuinely don't. He's the Scottish captain. If he could have played, I genuinely feel he would have played for Scotland. But with that in mind, am I happy he didn't play? You bet your fucking ass I am, Aidan. I'm absolutely delighted that he's had more time to recover, because he's Andy Robertson, mate. He's one of the best left backs in Europe, and to have him miss him would be a big blow for Liverpool. It really would. Although Milner can fill in there, but you do get something different from Andy Robertson that you don't get with James Milner. Milner has to check back onto his right foot. As good as a pro as Milner is, I mean, the ball for Mohamed Salah's goal against Manchester City told you everything about Andy Robertson. That's what he can do. Callum said we should try and buy Sabitzer from Leipzig. He's an attacking midfielder. The Abagor said, what's your thoughts on Naby, Craig? Doesn't look like he's going to work out. Another injury-prone player, so disappointing. Touched on a little bit earlier on, mate. I'm a massive Naby Keita fan, but even I, who is a massive fan of his, can't sit here and just lie through my teeth. It has been a bit disappointing, but not because of a lack of effort on his behalf or a lack of backing from the fans. I just think maybe it's been a bad run of injuries for him. Maybe the league's a little bit more physical than he first anticipated. Maybe Klopp's training methods are a bit harder than he thought. I don't know, but for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to put through a run of games and hasn't been able to justify the big price tag that we bought him for. There's still time for him to turn it around. I hope that he can. But he needs to stay fit and he needs to get games, and fingers crossed that'll start soon enough. PJ Ladd said, thought we should have sold Sturridge for a bit of cash. We should do the same with Lallana instead of letting him go for free. I suppose sometimes it comes down to the player as well. If it's not right for him, he might go, well, I'll take that money instead rather than you getting a few quid. I'll get a sign and on bonus, and that isn't unusual. I mean, if we were in his situation, would you rather not get a big signing on fee and let Liverpool to sell you in January, or would you probably try and strike a deal so you get looked after financially? Just get Sancho, said Liverpool FC till I die. I like that attitude, mate. Just get him. No fucking about. Just go out there and get Jadon Sancho. And I can definitely get on board with that. And as much as I laughed and joked and said the hashtag Mbappe 2020 stuff, and we talked about if Liverpool could actually afford him or not, there was an article in the Echo talking about it. It doesn't seem like it's a realistic thing. It really doesn't. So the Sancho thing, it's not going to be easy. As I said, United are going to be interested in him. Paris Saint-Germain are apparently interested in him. But we are one of the most appealing football clubs in the world right now. And if Jadon Sancho really does want to come and play in the Premier League and play in the Champions League and look about winning stuff, then, he could do a lot worse than coming to Liverpool Football Club. And he'd be idolised here, I'm sure, by the fans. He'd be working under a magnificent manager and set of coaches and playing in the best fucking stadium in the world in front of the best fans in the world. So I'm all for it. I can definitely get on board this Jadon Sancho 2020 move, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Sometimes with the international breaks, you have to take things with a pinch of salt because column inches needed to be filled. There's not a lot of club football. There's no club football really. And clicks needed to be got. And the easiest way to do that is with transfer gossip. Do I think Chamberlain should play more? Said Colin. Yes, mate. I fucking love Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I absolutely adore the lad. You can see what he brings to the team straight away. He has that dynamism. He run at defences deep from midfield. He brings pace. He brings power. He likes to shoot from outside the box. And I suppose more than any of that, mate, he's in form. he's in form right now, and I was disappointed that he didn't start against Manchester City. But I also have to say that the players that did start more than justified that start, and I hope to see a lot from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain this season, because there's no doubt he brings a lot to this squad when he's available and gives the manager another option as well. Fabinho will be the man over Naby, said Gary Richards. Naby isn't a 6 though, Gary. Naby will be more of an 8, possibly even in behind the front 3, playing in a 10. He is a box-to-box midfielder, but he has an eye for a pass, so I definitely wouldn't be comparing him to Fabinho. That's just my opinion anyway. I like Sam Maxime from Newcastle, said Mark Anthony Vieira. I think somebody else mentioned him the other day, mate. I can't remember. Maybe it was yourself, I don't know. But yeah, somebody did mention him. Loan Naby to Newcastle till the end of the season to get him used to the Premier League. I don't know if that would work, though. I mean, if you're going to loan a football player out, you want it to be to a club that play a similar style to yourself, and that ain't Newcastle, especially under our big nose, under our big broken nose, El Brucey. So I wouldn't loan him there personally. I think there's better loans, but he ain't going to be loaned out. Not a chance. If he's fit, he's going to be in our squad, because we have a hell of a lot of games coming up, starting I suppose after the international break and going right through to the new year. Give Harry Wilson a chance instead of Shaqiri. I guess a lot will depend on how he gets on with the rest of the season, mate, with Bournemouth. There was a report, and I'm sure you guys have seen that as well, suggesting that Harry Wilson could be used in part exchange for Ryan Fraser. I hate to say it, but I think we're going to do the right thing by selling Keita. I think we'd be doing the right thing by selling Keita. Excuse me. He's been plagued by injuries. When he has played, hasn't looked like a 50 million player. I don't know about the club just cutting their losses and selling him. But then again, I genuinely don't know. I'm just, I'm very, what's the phrase I'm looking for? I'm very attached to Naby for some reason. I mean, when we signed him in that ingenious way that we signed him as well, I really was expecting him to come in and tear the Premier League apart. I was expecting him to really light the place up, and it's going to take a lot for me to turn on Naby. Certainly the rest of this season anyway, before I even start to think about it from my point of view. But I can only give you my point of view. Jason O'Neill said 140 million for Sancho. What would Leroy Sané be worth? The 140 million is in euro, Jason. So that's what, about 110 maybe, something like that. The Leroy Sané thing, there was talk of a part exchange for, was it Kingsley Coman? I think it was Kingsley Coman. With Bayern Munich, I think it was, but you'd have to say Sané would be worth around 100 million easily. I mean, Leroy Sané is an exceptional footballer, very unlucky with the injury that he picked up. Yeah, he's one player that used to scare the shit out of me if he came off the bench for Manchester City. He's quality. I do really rate Leroy Sané. People writing Naby off far too quickly. Just get behind the lad for fuck's sake, said Big Virgil. And yes, mate, I can definitely get on board that. As I've said, I'm trying my best to defend Naby Keita, but he does need to put a run of games together, and like you've said, it is too early to write him off, and I'm definitely with you on that. Naby will come good, trust in Klopp, said Malcolm Fielding. I love it. A lot of positivity tonight, ladies and gents. Keep that coming. A little bit of news on Simon Mignolet. So apparently he turned down a move to Benfica over the summer because he wanted to move back to Belgium, which of course he did get with Club Bruges. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I would make Benfica a bigger club than Bruges, but maybe he just wanted to go back to his homeland, to a familiar environment. And Bruges, of course, won Champions League football this season, so yeah, he was still playing at a very top level. Just something I seen in the news and I thought I'd mention anyway. Okay, what else have we got? I reckon Naby will do alright this season, said Curse Footy 2019. I love it. A lot of positive stuff. Keep it coming. Right, let me just check. So Sadio Mane played 45 minutes as Senegal won 4-1 in their African Cup of Nations qualifier earlier on today. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, as I said, had us all worried when he went down after 2 minutes and managed to get up. And not only get up, he set up Harry Winks' goal, which I think was Harry Winks' first international goal when England won 4-0 away at Kosovo today. I think in England's group now, they won all but one of their games and scored a record amount of goals for England as well, which is, you know, really good if you're an English fan, if you're a fan of international football. I'm still pissed off with those English fans that had the fucking cheek to boo Joe Gomez, excuse me, over the whole Raheem Sterling thing. That still baffles me. But, you know, Joe's going to be back at Liverpool now, surrounded by people who genuinely love him and adore him. And, You won't get that treatment here, that's for sure. LFC 1892 said, I wish every player we buy turned out to be a great signing, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I don't necessarily think it's down to how good he is, but more due to the physicality of the Premier League. I think that must be with regards to Naby Keita, buddy. Jojo Harper said, Keita's not getting any extraordinary hard knocks, nothing out of the norm. He's just soft, weak, and folds like a deck of cards. Cut our losses, get rid ASAP. Fucking hell, mate, you're vicious, aren't you? Jesus. Firstly, don't underestimate how hard Jurgen Klopp's training is compared to other coaches, mate. So that's well known. That's well documented. And that's well known. Secondly, the Premier League is absolutely a more physical league than other leagues, mate. That's, again, very well known. To say he's soft, weak, and falls like a deck chair is fucking vicious, as I've said. You're perfectly entitled to say cut our losses, but I don't want fans treating football players or talking about Liverpool football players like that, Jojo. So for me, mate, you're being overly harsh and unnecessarily fucking critical of somebody, but you are fully entitled to your opinion. Our team is fairly stacked right now anyway, said Shea Trainer. Give Naby time, he's still young and he's shown bits and pieces. Very hard to get into that midfield, nearly impossible to get a run of 3 or 4 games, maybe over December, January and February, said Dave Sweeney. Craig Adams said, nothing wrong with Naby, he'll come good and shine this season. Love it, and love it. Yes, glad to see that for every negative comment around Naby, there's 3 or 4 positive ones that follow it up, which restores my fucking faith in humanity, if I'm being honest. Stephen Booker said, the thing about Naby Keita is that Klopp hasn't played a different role to what he was doing at Leipzig. England, boring, just want to watch Liverpool games, said Liverpool FC till I die. I can't lie, mate. I mean, obviously not with regards to England, but international football as a whole, just never been able to really get on board with it. So, like you, I'm just counting down the minutes till the Reds are back in action. And 3 p.m. next Saturday at Crystal Palace is where my mind is. Joe Mez should say, fuck you to England, said Dave Sweeney. Jason O'Neill said, totally agree, Craig, with Naby. I watched him for a year at Red Bull and I told all my mates he'd rip the Premier League up. He is exceptionally talented and still young. He will come good. Look, couple of things for those of you that want to knock Naby. We spoke about the physicality aspect. We spoke about the fact that he's come to play in a new league. Let's also not forget that he's in a new culture. He's learning a new language. He's in a new city. There's so much that goes in from a human perspective about a transfer. And some players take longer to settle than others. Some players can come in and hit the ground running, settle into the city, settle into the way of life, the physicality of the league, and can do it without a bother. And different strokes for different folks, and there's a lot for Naby to cope with, and I'm fully staying behind him. I think he'll come good. Some players need more time. Leave Naby alone, said Mark Anthony Vieira. Shea Trainer said give Naby time. Yo Tony said alone will do him good. The only thing that would make me doubt the loan thing is it's not really something Klopp does unless it's a young player. Like Grujic, for instance, he knows he's going to get gained on Darragh Hertha Berlin that he probably wouldn't get in this current Liverpool squad with Fabinho and that there, so that makes sense. For Naby, I think if we ever seen a loan for Naby, I would say it's more a signal of him not making it at the team or at the club, but again, just my opinion. And I don't want that loan to happen because I fully think he'll come good. What do you think about Shaqiri not playing, said Jake Thompson? Well, now it's because he's injured, Jake, and that's been the way for a while. He hasn't been able to put a run of fitness together that I can remember for quite a while, and I said at the time we signed him at 13 million it seemed like a gamble worth taking. He's never really going to be a starter for me. He's an impact sub at best, a squad player, and if Jurgen Klopp doesn't fancy him, Jurgen Klopp doesn't think that he's good enough, then we may see him moved on in the summer. As I said, there was a report earlier on that suggested he wants out. Klopp's not willing apparently to let him go in January, so it could be next summer when he moves on. What else we got? Isn't this his second season though? Yes, it is, mate. But as I said, like we're in November, so we're 12 games into it. We're not even 1/3 of the way through his second season. So again, there's still plenty of time, and he has had injuries that have limited his game time so far this season. John Hamilton said, my biggest issue with international footy is there's way too much of it, and can't the qualifiers just be an international competition and haven't been done with most league seasons are finished? It's only going to get worse as well, John, mate. That's the thing. I mean, so we spoke about the new Club World Cup and the fact that in 2021 that's going to be a summer tournament. That same summer, I think the AFCON is on as well after that. And then, so I think Brian might have pointed out that there's a Copa America that summer as well. So when are these players going to get a rest? Barry Atkins said, or is it Atkins? Yes, or Atkins, excuse me, said it's £190 million you'd have to pay for Sancho, Craig. I think Naby will come good. Just has to give him time to get over his injury. What I read was €140 million, Barry. I don't know what the exact exchange rate is, mate, but I don't think we're a million miles apart in that. And yeah, I think there's something to it. I do believe there's genuine interest there. That much I think I can say with some confidence. Loan Keita, that's ridiculous, said Mark Anthony Vieira. Naby will get plenty of game time over December and January. That'll be his big chance, said Stephen Booker. Pablo De Conyo, I hope I pronounced that right, said Fabinho needed time to settle. Naby will come good. You'll never walk alone, and love the 6 stars, mate. Well in. Malcolm Fielding, I wonder how many of those people slagging Naby would cope in his position. I can only imagine, mate, at what is he, 23 years of age, 22, 23 years of age, what it must be like, first of all, going from Guinea to then play in Austria, from Austria to play in Germany, from Germany to play in England, and having to learn a new language along the way, or 2 new languages probably along the way as well, and then have to get used to different type of food, different culture, different weather, so much stuff that, you know, most of us never experience. So yeah, it is very difficult for him, and we need to give him time. But that's just my opinion on it. And I am biased in this, and that I've said all along, I'm a massive Naby fan. Klopp needs to let Shaqiri shoot more, said Callum. Why? Look, let me be really frank about this. Shaqiri's not good enough to play for Liverpool Football Club, in my opinion. Yeah, he whip in a good cross every now and again, but apart from that, I just don't see him doing enough game to game. But I've never been a massive Sheridan Shaqiri fan, no matter where he's been. I always thought he was a nearly player. But that's just my opinion. But, you know, it is open to be critiqued like everybody else's opinion. Craig Adams said, if Shaqiri's tree trunk of ties that's causing him muscle problems, I wonder how many pairs of trousers he rips. He definitely doesn't skip leg day. Definitely. Malcolm Fielding said, no, it's just not about the football, life changes, etc. And LFC Eddie 92 said, I tell you what, I do hope to see Oxlade-Chamberlain in the next match. He's on fire at the minute, mate. He really is looking like the Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain before he picked up that injury against Roma that kept him out for so long, and I'm so happy to have him back. He looks like a great lad to have around the club as well. With all that football, how can clubs stop burnout? Asks Anthony Davies. It's a very good question, Anthony. I suppose one of the answers, mate, is by having deep squads and rotating that squad as much as possible. But a lot of the time you want your players to get into a rhythm of games, and you only do that by playing games, and you want to put your best 11 out on the pitch as often as possible as well. So a lot of the time it's through calculated gambles about who can play, who can't play. The medical and the sports science team saying, look, this player's played X amount of minutes. The potential of him picking up an injury is a lot more than it would be if you rested him. And I suppose you got to rely on the sports science, the nutritionalists, and all the data that they have in this day and age, mate. I mean, we've come a long way in football over the past 10 years or so. Jake Thompson said, how do you think we will do if Sancho comes in? Well, is the short answer, mate, because we're doing pretty damn good at the minute, and if you're adding somebody like Sancho in, it's only going to strengthen what's already a very, very strong squad, and a squad that will have been together for another year at that point. Added some more young blood to it. You've so many good young players coming through. Curtis Jones as well, still only 18 years of age. I mean, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's ridiculously young. Robbo on the other side is very young. Keita Hoover, Sepp Vandenberg. The list continues, mate. Yeah, we've a lot of good young footballers at the club. Ryan Brewster, Harvey Elliott. I mean, the future is bright for Liverpool Football Club without a shadow of a doubt. Ireland match score? Asked Kieran Bailey, question mark, with regards to prediction. I think I said 1-1. I know that wouldn't put us through, but that's my honest prediction. I'd be very happy to be wrong and see Ireland go through, but last time Denmark came to Dublin in a massive game, we know what happened. Christian Eriksen showed up and absolutely tore us a new asshole, so hopefully that doesn't happen tomorrow. Yeah, Oxlade-Chamberlain looks a little bit tasty at the moment. So much more to come, said Craig Adams. Sancho's going to Chelsea. He's a Chelsea supporter, and I think he'd suit Chelsea because Hughes might not give him a chance. Neither would United or anything, but Chelsea play young lads. Right, well, let's put a couple of things to bed here, Aaron, mate. Firstly, there's only one reason Chelsea are playing young lads, mate, and that's because of a fucking transfer ban that they got. Chelsea have more young players loaned around Europe, I think, than almost any other football club. And without Frank Lampard being there and without that transfer ban, they absolutely wouldn't be giving those young players a chance. So let's not hold Chelsea up as some beacon for young players. They've been renowned over the years, mate, to not give young players a chance. So, to say that that's the reason Sancho should go there, I think it's bullshit. But I don't know if he will or won't go there. That much I can't say for certain. But we're not holding Chelsea up as some fucking beacon of hope for young footballers, mate. It's only through coincidence that Chelsea have had to rely on those young players. And for Frank Lampard, those young players have come good. And that is a positive thing for Chelsea Football Club. But it's not through anything other than that ban, mate. If Klopp goes in the summer, who do you think will step in to fill his boots? Well, he's not going in the summer, so it's a redundant question. There's no way Jurgen Klopp's going until his contract is at least fulfilled. So what's that? 2 more years after this year? So there's no way he's going in the summer, mate. And I don't know where you read that, but wherever it is complete bullshit. Oxlade-Chamberlain's a true Klopp player. He hustles, so anybody can play for Klopp, i.e. Sancho. So not anyone, can play for Klopp, i.e. Sancho. Klopp's an admirer of Sancho, mate. It's clearly out there in the media that he likes Jadon Sancho and he rates him as a footballer, and they tried to sign him previously. So anyone who thinks that Klopp doesn't like Sancho is only kidding themselves. Now, in saying that, I am of course not saying that Jadon Sancho will end up playing for Liverpool Football Club. What I'm saying is, those of you that think that he's not a Klopp type player, I think you're very wrong, because Klopp's come out and said himself that he likes the player. Craig, what's your thoughts on Ashley Barnes and Jay Rodriguez? Jay Rodriguez is decent when he's not injured, but not good enough for Liverpool. And Ashley Barnes should stay put where he is, because he's playing quite well where he is. So I don't really have too much thoughts on them, Gary, mate, but both I would say better off staying put where they are. What about signing Traore from Wolves? He could give Mane and Salah a race in training. I don't know if he's good enough. I know he picked up his first full Spanish cap recently, but he just looks like an athlete that plays football. Does that make any sense? Again, very raw, very powerful, very bright, but I don't know about his footballing intelligence from what I've seen. But yeah, I don't know. Not for me, anyway, would be my thoughts for Liverpool. I don't think he's at that level. But he's still got time to progress at Wolves. I don't think he's good enough for Liverpool, personally. Do you think Barca are still shook after we destroyed them? They're in trouble. Mate, they're in trouble for a number of reasons. They've got to redo the new camp. That's going to cost them a fucking fortune. There's talk already about them giving a new contract to Lionel Messi, which will of course put them under more financial stress. They already had to take out a loan to buy Coutinho. They had to take out a loan to go and buy Antoine Griezmann. And they're flirting with the idea of bringing back in Neymar. And how the fuck are they going to afford that one? I've no idea. Excuse me. Craig, I didn't know Klopp admired him, so I retract my earlier statement. That's okay, buddy. There's a load of shit that I don't know that you guys remind me of all the time or fill me in on, so I wouldn't worry about it one bit, my friend. Dave Sweeney said, prediction for the Ireland match. Boring defensive match till the 75th, 80th minute. Then Ireland will score a header. We're in the Euros in 2020. I don't believe it myself, but I only see us winning. Yeah, it'd be nice if it was the case, mate. It really would. Do you think we'll sign anybody in January? If so, who? Said Roy Boy. I don't, unfortunately, mate, but stranger things have happened. I just don't know if there's a need for us to go and sign anybody in January. The only one I could make an argument for is Timo Werner, and that's because of I know that there's a buyout clause in there. But even in saying that, Leipzig are going to want to make sure they qualify for the Champions League again next year, so maybe it would be a similar type of deal to the Naby Keita one, and that you buy him and leave him there for the rest of the season. But stranger things have happened, mate. I mean, you can never say never, but I would say no at this moment in time. I think we're going to save our financial clout for next summer until we get that Nike deal all agreed and announced, and some big, a big push behind that new Nike deal, I think, will probably be next summer. What do I think of Fabinho? Because when we've started him, we've never lost a game. He's absolutely amazing, Jake. I love Fabinho so much, mate. And he has just blossomed at this football club. And I think He's won over everybody. I mean, he's an absolutely wonderful footballer, and it's a pleasure to see him at the club. He's doing great things in that number 6 role for us, and long may that continue. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of him. I really do rate the guy. And he seems to have bought into the whole culture and the way of life here as well, as is his good lady wife. So, yeah, love Fabinho, nothing but respect for the guy. Adam said, if we beat Denmark, we're not on the same points as them. Yes, mate, but because we drew away 1-1 in Denmark, we'd go through on the head-to-head. Stephen Soar said, what do you think Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield-ish for England? Apologies if already covered. Looked a bit lost to me. So, the background on Trent Alexander-Arnold, Stephen, and I'm sure you probably know this already, mate, is that he started his career in midfield. He was then made into a right-back, has turned out to be one of the best right-backs in Europe. And for me, I'd like to see him stay there. But there is an argument from the play in midfield, and even he himself has said one position at a time. He's capable of it. He might not have had his best time there in the England game. I didn't watch all of it, so I can't really say. But he's definitely capable of playing in midfield. I'd rather see him stay at right back, though. But the guy's so talented, he could slot into midfield without missing a beat. How would you feel if we don't spend money in the summer? Being honest, Brad, disappointed, mate. Very disappointed. And I don't just mean spend the money for the sake of spending the money, because I don't believe in that either. But I do think there's still positions we need to address. I do think that Nike will give us more financial clout, and I do think where we are as a football club will allow us now to attract a higher calibre of footballer as well. When Jurgen Klopp first came in, there was a lot of things that needed to be addressed, a lot of positions that we needed to go and sort out, and one by one he's done those, and it's very hard to pick holes in our squad now, so it's all about tweaking and one or two major signings every now and again to keep things fresh. But yeah, I can't even imagine a scenario, mate, where we don't spend a few quid next summer. Craig Adams said prayers to Dominic Matteo. Again, I echo those sentiments, and I'm sure everybody in the chat does as well. If we sign Sancho, would we bench him? Like anybody else, mate, you'll have to prove his worth. You'll have to get up to speed with Jurgen Klopp's level of fitness. And he'll probably take a while to be integrated into the team, like we've seen with other players that have come to the club. Fabinho, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Andy Robertson. Yeah, it probably will take him a few months, but then it's a matter of rotation, isn't it? And, you know, giving players a break, because Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, Bobby Firmino, they can't play every single week. And yes, you've got Harvey Elliott, yes, you've got Ryan Brewster coming through as well, but having another player like Jadon Sancho in there would do no harm whatsoever. Best right back in the world, facts, said Gary Richards. Stephen Soares said I agree, I love him at right back. I give credit to this person all the time for this. Neil Atkinson of the Anfield Rap once said that there will come a point with Trent Alexander-Arnold that he has to make a decision and have a conversation with Jurgen Klopp about whether he wants to be a really good central midfielder or whether he wants to be potentially the best right back in world football. And I agree with Neil Atkinson on that, as I do about many opinions. And it was a really good point, and one that stuck in my head when I listened to it on an Anfield Rap podcast. I think it was last year or sometime, might have even been longer than that. If we signed Sancho, would we bench him? I've done that one. Do you think Gomez will start against Crystal Palace? No, but not for any other reason, mate, than I think Dejan Lovren will go and play alongside Virgil van Dijk like he has done. It's got nothing to do with what happened with Raheem Sterling or anything like that. It just seems that at this moment in time, Jurgen Klopp seems to prefer Dejan Lovren alongside Virgil van Dijk. Honestly, Sancho probably would be benched to start, as he's not on Salah's level, but he is a very good potential talent. And like I said, Dan, the little man, I kind of agree with you for probably the same reasons you're thinking as well, mate, that it takes time to get up to speed. Sancho will be a revelation, said Media Centre Man. Look, of all the links that we've had, and of all the, hashtag 2020 stuff and the Nike money and all the things that we've talked about, Mbappe never seemed realistic. Sancho does seem a possible target for us, and somebody that we could do with, somebody we could afford, and somebody that could make a statement, somebody that I'm sure Nike would like to see wearing a Liverpool shirt as well. I do think there's something to this. I really, really do. I'm not saying we're signing them, because it's far too early to say that for sure, but I think there could be something to this, and I think this is one that we can certainly keep an eye on. I could go full on, we're signing them, it's looking likely, click on here, watch this, but I've always tried to be honest. I don't try and bullshit people. Brian said, I think that might be revised if Trent can go on and be one of the best midfield players in the world. Possibly, but then you've got to make sure, Brian, that we have a right back who can come in and be as good as Trent Alexander-Arnold if we're going to move him into midfield. The joys of it though, mate, you never know. We'll have to wait and see. Liverpool fans aren't just Scouts. Some fans from different countries are more true than some Scousers. Well, Rachel, with regards to fans being from other countries, I mean, I'm an example of that. I'm Irish. There's people in our chat here from all walks of life, from every corner of the globe. Well, how can you say every corner of the globe when it's a fucking round earth? Or is it? Yes, it most definitely is. But you're right. Liverpool, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you fall or get that Liverpool bug. We spoke the other night in the stream about fans from the United States, for example, and some of the sacrifices they make. Same with Australian fans, fans from Africa, Asia. Yeah, I mean, you excuse the crassness of what I'm about to say, but I like to say it because it's the way I genuinely speak. But just because you fall out of your mother's vagina in a Liverpool postcode doesn't make you more entitled to support the football club than anybody else. And it doesn't make you any more or less of a fan. That's my opinion on it anyway. Anybody who thinks that they have a divine right to have their opinions heard more because they're from Liverpool, in my opinion, is just quite frankly a fucking idiot. You have no more or less right to support the football club than anybody else, and you have no more or less right to tickets than anybody else. But that's my opinion, and I have very strong opinions on these because I've been an advocate for overseas fans for a very long time. And not just overseas fans, I should say, fans from outside of Liverpool, of course. But my experience of Scousers and my experience of Liverpool fans from the city have only been warm, kind, lovely people who, like us all, just want the best for the football club. There's just a very small minority of arseholes that give a bad name to the fan base, and yeah, it's not been my experience. Any of the Scousers I've come across have been warm, welcoming, friendly, loving people who just love the club like the rest of us. And I try to stay away from this whole us and them mentality because I see us all as one with regards to being fans of the club. Nico Williams will be the next Trent, said LJW. He looked very good in the Arsenal 5-5, mate. I still feel weird saying that because we conceded 5, but he did look very good. Craig, will you watch I Miss Celebrity Get Me Out of Here? I will. I'm not lying, I will. I've got it recording. I am that cheesy. I do kind of like that type of shit. So yeah, I will watch it. I'm not going to lie. Would I like Havertz at Liverpool? I would. But I'm starting to believe it less and less, mate. I heard him come out and talk about the fact that he could move and play outside of Germany. But I've also seen links that suggest that he'd prefer to go to Real Madrid. That would be his preference. But then again, we heard that about Alisson as well, and you know, Agent Bobby went and did his thing, and Alisson's now Liverpool's goalkeeper. Do you think VVD left the Dutch squad early for LFC, or do you believe it was for personal reasons? Well, the honest answer, Ronnie, is I don't know, but I hope that it's because, as I said earlier on, they've qualified, and Ronald Koeman just said, look mate, we've qualified, we've got an Estonia game, I'm probably going to rotate and give somebody else a chance anyway, so you go on home, mate, and be with your family. That's what I'd like to think, but I don't know. I hope there's nothing wrong with Van Dijk. We heard personal reasons, and I genuinely hope there's nothing serious if there is something there. Some True Reds never even been to Anfield, said Pablo. Yes, mate, as I said, I know people whose life goal or ambition it is to be able to travel over and go to a game at Anfield, and to anybody who is in that situation, I hope your dreams come true someday, and I really hope you get to go, and you won't be disappointed if you do get to travel. Timo Werner's half the cost of Sancho and is proven would be a better buy. Different position, first and foremost, but you can't argue with the 30 million price tag that you can get Timo Werner for. It's an absolute bargain. And why somebody hasn't moved from, mate, I genuinely don't know. Would he be a better buy? I can't say. Long term, Sancho probably has a higher ceiling if everything was to go well and he was to reach his full potential, but for the sake of a difference of what, £80 million or something like that, I can see an argument. Why can't we be greedy though, mate, and get both? Do you know what I mean? Let's go balls out here and be greedy. What have we got? Going to Anfield is on my bucket list. Did Mark Anthony Vieira. Adam Whitehead, said, I'm 39, live in Middlesbrough, and I've had this problem all my personal life, saying, why don't you support your hometown team? My response is, you can't pick who you fall in love with. Exactly, mate. That's like me saying to you, Adam, why don't you only marry a girl from Middlesbrough, mate? Well, because maybe you met a girl from Leeds, or maybe you meet a girl from Ireland, or maybe you meet an American girl, or whatever. As you said, buddy, and you're right, you can't help who or what or where you fall in love. Finn, how are you, mate? Welcome in. Graham Sangster said Virgil was swiped up from Southampton from a Scottish team. Some team is going to swipe Alfredo the same way. Yeah, Morelos looks a talent, Graham. There's no denying that, mate. I mean, we were talking to Boya the other day on the channel. If you didn't get a chance to watch that stream back, please do. It was Friday night stream, and the first half hour or so was myself talking to Anthony, aka Leicester City FC Boya, and he was getting a little bit excited about the possibility of Leicester going in and making a bid for Alfredo Morelos. And like you, mate, I think he's too good for the Scottish League, and he probably will move on eventually. Kate Hannah said, I'm a Scouser, get me out of here. Right, we need Werner, said Shay Trainer. Mate, you're not going to get an argument from me there, Shay, mate. I'm completely with you. Right, let me just check my notes. I'm always worried I've missed something. I think I've gone through everything. Done that. Then, oh yes, there was one more thing, and I said earlier on, John Hamilton sent me an email, and the email said that there's apparently a group of Manchester United fans. Now, I'm just going to reiterate that this is Manchester United fans that have started a petition to have our game against Manchester City replayed. You heard me right. There is apparently a group of Manchester United fans that have started a petition to have our game against Manchester City replayed. Firstly, what the fuck has it got to do with Manchester United? Secondly, I didn't see the whining little bitches want to replay when Martin Atkinson fucked us over when Origi was fouled and United scored their goal. And thirdly, it is absolutely wonderful to know that we as Liverpool fans are living rent-free in those fuckers' heads. And sucks to be you bitter little fuckers, is all I can say. I mean, imagine being that cheesy. United fans wanting us to play Manchester City again because we beat them. I mean, you'd swear I was making this shit up, honestly. It's mental. Absolutely fucking mental. But if that's what they've reduced to, then, you know, what can we do but sit here and that? Nothing else we can really do. Thoughts on Lallana's possible move to PSG, said Jake. The move itself, I'd be shocked by, but when you add in that it's as a potential replacement for Edison Cavani, it makes it even more strange, mate. Even more strange. I said earlier on, Cavani looks like he's off to LA Galaxy as his Zlatan replacement, as their marquee or franchise player. I'm not sure what exactly they call it, but they're allowed to have some over-the-top high-wage players. And yeah, it's strange. Very, very strange. Malcolm Fielding said, Man, you gotta love him. Imagine being a United fan, said Sebastian Percy. Could never be me, mate. Could never be me. But God bless them. They think they're signing everybody under the sun. I've seen some comments from Manchester United fans on social media suggesting that they're going to sign Haaland, Sancho, and numerous other players who... Why the fuck would they go to United? Why? Why would Jadon Sancho fancy going to play for Manchester United? The club is all over the place at the minute. It's a shambles. But it's great to see from our perspective, and long may that continue. When Naby is replaced by Maddison/Sancho or whoever, I will at him, said Media Centre Man. I don't know what that's about, but okay. United is like Disneyland, said 40-year-old Virgil. Thoughts on Pep going back to Bayern? Excuse me. I've been a bit reticent to speak about this because I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but there has been a lot of chatter about Guardiola potentially going back to Bayern Munich. It's no doubt that he's very well thought of there. You've seen, I think it was Joshua Kimmich came out and spoke about it during the week. Said that he'd have no issues with Pep going back. I think he still has a house in the city, if my memory's correct, or a place in the city. Yeah, I mean, I can see it happening. I could see him go back to Barcelona as well. Maybe he feels he's got some unfinished business at Bayern Munich because he didn't quite win the Champions League there. So I don't know. There could be something to it. There could be. I hope there is. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see it happen because what would City do next? That yeah, fuck City anyway. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Pep has cracked. We saw it at Anfield. So Craig Adams, yeah, we're definitely living rent-free in his head, mate. Definitely. Koulibaly will be a huge signing to Gary Richards. I can't see that happening. He's quality, but I can't see it happening. Look, ladies and gents, I wasn't supposed to stream tonight, but there was so much stuff popped up over the last 24 hours that I said I had to come on and have a chat about it. I'm going to be back tomorrow after the Ireland game, so probably 9:45 for tomorrow night's stream. And then, as you guys know, I take Tuesdays off. Wednesday, I'm going to be recording a podcast with Copish, with Drifty and the guys over there, so I'm really looking forward to that. A couple of other things that have came up over the last few days. I recorded with the Cop Council the other day. If you haven't had a chance to go over and watch that and check out Connor's channel, please do. The name of the channel, as I said, is the Cop Council, and it was on Thursday. So maybe you can go back over. If you can, please subscribe to Connor and the Cop Council, another good Liverpool channel. Shout out to Boya as well, who we had on Friday night. Lots of love to Leicester City and their fans and the way they're going about things this season. I will chat to you guys tomorrow. Please do hit that subscribe button, ladies and gents, if you haven't already done so. Give the stream a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you're on Twitter, our account over there, Anfield Agenda, give us a follow. Same on Instagram. Just like on here, it's really simple to find us. Just search Anfield Agenda on either one and you'll see us. Give us a follow, and yeah, we'll chat to you soon. Take care of your family, tell your loved ones that you love them, and up the motherfucking Reds. Love to you all.